In the heart of chaos, a group of friends navigates a city under siege by a monstrous creature, recording their terrifying journey on camera. As they fight for survival and search for their loved ones, they discover a chilling truth. The threat they face is far from over. Here is how it all starts. The movie begins with Rob videotaping the start of a typical New York day from his apartment in the Time Warner Center's North Tower. He enters the bedroom and starts chatting with Beth, the woman he'd just spent the night with. The two of them then decided to spend the day at Coney Island. The video then cuts to Rob's brother, Jason, struggling to get the same camera to work. Jason handed over the task to his friend Hudson, who was also friends with Rob after his girlfriend Lily asked him to take pictures of Rob's farewell party. Hud agrees and takes the camera, starting to record the party. Beth, whose feelings are hurt because Rob did not call her back after their one night together, brings a new man to the party, much to Rob's disbelief. The two fight during the party, and when Hud asks Lily why, she reluctantly reveals to him and Jason that Rob and Beth had been spending the night together. After telling several guests, Hud continues and Beth heads out. Rob irritates her even more by wishing Beth's date good luck as they take off. Soon after, the partygoers head to the roof to look down on the city and notice a sizable explosion nearby. The local news reports an oil tanker that had capsized close to Liberty Island after a powerful earthquake briefly knocks out power through the city. The partygoers see an explosion in the distance from the roof and run away as flaming debris flies in their direction towards the roof. The guests dash downstairs and start to gather in the street. As everyone starts to leave the building, suddenly there is another loud crash, and the severed head of the Statue of Liberty flies through the streets, landing in front of the crowd. Hud notices it in the chaos and moves over to it. There, he meets Rob, Jason, and Lily. The four of them then watch as the Woolworth building abruptly collapses. To escape the debris, they dash into a store. They leave the shop a few minutes later to find their friend Marlena, whom Hudson has a crush on, babbling about it and eating people. The five friends decide to leave the island after discussing what they saw and getting to the conclusion that the giant creature is prowling the city. But when the monster obliterates the Brooklyn Bridge and kills Jason, they are cut off. Rob needs to find a battery for his cell phone, so they dash back into the city and enter an electronics store. A message from Beth, who is stranded in her apartment, appears on his phone after he locates one. Hud sees live footage of the monster rubbing up against structures and spitting out parasites the size of dogs as he watches the news in the meantime. People begin to be attacked by the parasites, but Rob makes the decision to try and help Beth, and his friends all agree to go along with him. The army arrives and tries to shoot it down as they travel further north towards Midtown, where they come face to face with the monster. The group ran away into a subway in a panic and in an effort to get away. When they are below the streets, they realize that they can follow the train tracks to Beth's apartment, and then turn west down Central Park south to reach the other side of Central Park, so they start walking through the tunnels. During their walk, they are ambushed by the parasites, and Marlena suffers a severe bite from one of them. They quickly enter the deserted Bloomingdale's through the 59th Street subway stop. They are guided to an Army field hospital by a squad of infantrymen, which was built to provide care for the numerous injured civilians scattered around the city. Marlena is dragged behind a paramedic screen soon after arriving at the hospital, and we witness the viral effect the bite she received causes as she begins bleeding from her eyes, and her silhouette horrifyingly expands and then explodes. A few white-coated scientists can be seen examining some of the parasites, both alive and dead, in containment cages. The sergeant grants permission for the group to depart and attempt to assist Beth, but they are required to arrive at a military evacuation zone by 6 a.m. the following morning. Then, before the military carries out its Hammer Down protocol, which will completely destroy Manhattan in order to kill the monster, Rob is informed of the time that the last evacuation helicopter will leave. Before they leave, Hud has a breakdown, but he gets himself together, and they head in Beth's direction toward Columbus Circle. When they arrive at the Time Warner Center, they notice that the South Tower is leaning against the North Tower, which has been knocked over. They manage to get themselves into Beth's apartment after Hud suggests that they climb the stairs in the South Tower and try to find a way onto the roof of the North one. When they arrive, they discover Beth impaled by a piece of rebar in the shoulder, lying on the ground. The group helps her up and guides her back down to street level. As they move to the evacuation site at Grand Central Terminal, they come across the creature once again. As they move across the North Tower's roof and descend the stairwell, they briefly see the monster again and run into a parasite once more. Rob uses a fire axe to stab it, and the four are able to escape. They run to the evacuation area, which is right by Grand Central Station, and as they pass this station on their way there, they see the monster step right over it. Lily, who was rushed into a departing Marine Corps helicopter to flee before the terminal was destroyed, is separated from them as they hastily attempt to board a helicopter. A short while later, a second helicopter picks up Rob, Beth, and Hud, and they start to evacuate. As they fly over the city, they see the monster being bombed by various planes before collapsing into a building and disappearing into a cloud of smoke, and success is assumed. As Hud shouts in delight, the monster lunges out of the smoke, smashing the helicopter's rear rotor and sending it circling toward the ground. A few minutes later, it lands in Central Park. The group awakens and helps each other in getting out. Except for Rob, Beth, and Hud, everyone in the helicopter is dead. Hud puts the camera down to help Rob escape after the collision breaks his leg, but as soon as he gets to it, the monster suddenly steps over him and turns to stare at the camera. The monster reaches down and scoops Hud up in its mouth as Rob and Beth watch from behind the helicopter. For a brief moment, the camera is inside the monster's mouth. Rob and Beth rush over to Hud in tears as the top portion of him falls out of the creature's mouth, complete with the camera. Rob picks up the camera and carries it with him and Beth as the two collapse under a bridge near the park's southeastern corner. They watch from where they are as the city's bomb alert siren sounds, while Rob gives one final interview to the camera. As he quietly consoles Beth, a bomb detonates in the park, knocking the camera from Rob's grip and burying it beneath the rubble. Right before another bomb goes off, both Rob and Beth declare their love for one another. Following a brief pause, the camera pans to a view of the ocean taken from the Coney Island Ferris wheel. As part of the movie's viral marketing campaign, you can briefly see a Japanese satellite crash into the ocean in the distance before it falls out of the sky. Rob returns the camera to him and Beth, then zooms in on Beth's face. "I had a good day," she says, and the tape freezes on her happy face with a wide smile before cutting to black. At the very end of the credits, there is a brief static transmission, and a voice can be heard saying, "Help us." But when played backward, it says, "It's still alive." Subscribe for more videos like this, and turn on the notifications so you never miss any of them.